Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of premarketinfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Well, Dennis, bankruptcy in an American icon business can't hurt the SPUs. We're trading up 6 1/4 this morning.
Yeah, market doesn't seem to care. Actually, we're trading up here with the AMR announced bankruptcy here this morning, so who knows? Somebody keeps propping this market up regardless of whether we have major bankruptcies or not, Joel.
Okay, looking for the 2-day follow-through here on the market on the upside. We made a Globex low at 1186 1/4, just above the daily pivot there. If that stands as the low of the day, we have an upside target at 1215.50. Globex high up there at 1206. Don't have much up there. If that holds as the high of the day, we have a downside target of 1176.75. Currently trading mid-range on the day. That also coincides nicely with Monday's high. So this 1196 area in the S&Ps is going to be crucial to see if the rally can continue. Moving on to the Big Ten, folks. Heck of a day in Apple Computer yesterday. Recovered after trading in the 360s. Made a high of 376.72. You got a little resistance up there at the 377.93 area and the 379.99 area. Just going back to 4 and 6 day highs. Also, you have that 378.40 close, which is the line in the sand. That's where Apple closed the day that Steve Jobs passed away. Coming back on the downside, the close is mild support here, just hovering above it. Below the close, below that 376, Dennis, I'd look out. I don't think I'd want to be long this stock. I don't see any good support until Monday's low.
Yeah, I think, it's hard to say that. Like, you look at Google, like I always said, Google, Apple trade together. Google was up $30 yesterday. Had a heck of a run. It's up again this morning, $5.90 on Google. So you wonder if Apple can continue its run, if Google's going to continue its run up. Keep an eye on Google. It seems to be the leader here right now for Apple. But obviously, if we start to break down here again, you're right, Joel, there ain't a heck of a lot, down there. Like, we've talked for quite some time that we thought it could eventually test that 360 number. Got as low as 363 a couple days ago. I still think eventually it may test that move. Not to say there ain't a heck of a lot up there either, so, we could go in a rally mode. So if you are shorting it, you could take some heat.
Okay, moving on to ExxonMobil. Had a good day yesterday. Made a high at 76.51. Couldn't quite get to that weekly high at 77.33. So I think that's a big number for the stock. Maybe even some big sellers stepping ahead at the 77 level. Currently treading above the close here, 26 cents above the close, 75.84. So that close should be minor support. And then coming down below that, you have a gap between Friday's high and Monday's low. Nothing real big there, but let's call 75.20 good support in ExxonMobil.
Yeah, I'll call it 75 all around just because you know how I love my whole numbers, Joel. So we'll take your 75.20 down to 75, call that whole area pretty good support. So on the pullback here, I think, that could be a decent buy the first time around. Really rallying up, Joel. I'm having trouble finding resistance here in this area. So I think if you're shorting this thing, it's, there's not a lot to lean on really here from a levels perspective. So I don't know how you control the risk by shorting it here. So that's, that's up to you guys if you want to short it or not. But I would more. Well, yeah, you always do that theory. There's always traders that, you short, you just short the next level and short again and short again. But I always like to be able to control the risk. I just don't see how to do it on the short side of ExxonMobil at this area. So I'm sitting on my hands on the short side, possibly being a buyer down in the 75 area.
Okay, IBM had a good day yesterday, settled at 182.21, bumped up against a multi-day high there, 182.98, can only get to 182.93. So that's that 183 level starting to be real good resistance in the stock, quite away from the Warren Buffett high up at the 189 area. Coming back on the downside, I would expect some mild support at the close, 182.21. But below that, look out. We could easily test Monday's low at 180.67. And, of course, you got a gap to fill there between Monday's low and Friday's high.
I like the 180 as a psychological support number too. So if we were to pull back, I might be a buyer there. Like you said, Warren Buffett high. I'm going to give Warren Buffett some digs. It looks like the 190 area. But 189, 190 obviously is huge on this stock. That's a long ways away from here. So again, I'd probably look to buy some pullbacks in this as opposed to selling in this area. That's my comments on IBM.
Okay, Microsoft made a challenge at that $25 level yesterday, only getting up to $24.97. So once again, Dennis's key whole number theory holds up once again. Close at $24.87, trading slightly below that. I'd expect resistance here, $24.87 up to $97, as well as that whole number. Coming back on the downside, you got Friday's low and Friday's high and Monday's low. Coincided nicely together at the 24.67 level to 69. Below that, we'd be looking for the Friday low and close at 24.30. But I'd hazard a guess the range today in this stock could be 24.65 to 25.
Yeah, I'd go along with that, Joel. Interesting enough, it's actually trading down on a day we're up 5.5 in the SPU, so the relative strength not looking that great for Microsoft here early. It's trading down 4 cents at 24.83. I think you're right. I think you're going to see some resistance in that 25 area if we're to rally up to that. And then coming back down, and there's not really the heck of a lot until, well, you got the 24.69 low, and then you got that 24.30 area where we bottomed out there 2 days ago. So that's what I would say the possible range would be as well.
Okay, Chevron Corporation, kind of a tight range for that stock. Made a high at 96.35. Quite a ways from the 4-day high at 97.25, and a gap to fill up to 97.81. So that would be your major resistance. Coming back on the downside, we are trading above the close, which was 95.77. Expect support down from after 95.77 at 95, and also a small gap to fill here at 94.45.
I tell you, these 3-4 charts now, these are some tough charts to read here over, looking at the 1 month charts here on these stocks to get a real feel for which way these stocks are going. They're kind of in no man's land. Like, we've had such a sell-off, and now we've bounced hard, the last couple of days. But really here, where is the play? You could say the 95 area, maybe that was a psychological number before, but it's kind of in the middle of, that area where we just trade. We trade down to $92 there. Now we're up at 95.77. So you could say the 100 definitely, if we get up to that area, is huge resistance. But, from a swing trading perspective, you're kind of in a lot of risk area here if you're playing the stock either way.
SOH, sit on hands sometimes, right, Dennis?
That's just it. Like, it's all about, like I always say, traders, you don't have to swing at every pitch. If you're not seeing good setups, don't trade. Like, that's how traders lose a lot of money, is just, I'm trading just for the sake of trading. But if you don't have a way to control the risk, I don't think there's a way to put on trades. Like, I'm a risk manager. That's really how I stay in the game, is managing risk. And if you're not managing risk, then, the stocks can get against you in a hurry and start to really hurt you. So if you don't see key levels to lean on, or, or something else, that where where your out is, it's really hard to make a trade.
And then you might be handcuffed when it actually, does come to that level, to a good level. You're, so caught up in losing trades, you're not able to take advantage of the opportunity. Going on to J&J, that stock recovered as well yesterday, closing at 62.37, trading slightly above that level. Monday's high, 62.71, should serve as good resistance. Coming back on the downside, 61.78, which was Monday's low. You got a slight gap there between Monday's low and Friday's high. But the real support in that stock looms at 61.05, which was the Friday and a weekly low.
Same thing. You're in the middle. You're right. 61.05 is where you could probably be a buyer. That's a pretty good level to lean on. High 63s, great resistance up there. It's $1.50 away from here, though. So, I doubt that comes into play today. If it did, yeah, that's a great level to sell at. You're just trading here in the middle of 62.37. You might as well flip a coin.
Okay. Procter Gamble did recover as well yesterday, along with the rest of the market. Made a high at 62.46, below the weekly high, 62.97. Pretty much just trading up slightly here. You may get a play there near the open off the 62.46 level. If you are shorting it there, it may take some heat up to the weekly high. Coming back on the downside, Procter Gamble was able to sneak below Friday's high, made a low 20 cents below that, so you have some decent support coming in at 61.57, but the major support comes in at the Friday low close area of 61 even.
I like that 61.57 area too for a long if you to get back down to that area. There is a trend there. Procter Gamble does have this trend. I'm still fighting a cold here, but there is a little trend there if you look at the last month where we started drifting down from that, just above 64. And obviously, if you look at the top of that trend line, we're probably around that 63 area. And I do see some signs that they're backing up. So if we're getting to the high 62s, I think you'll see some resistance up there in Procter & Gamble.
Okay, AT&T snuck its head above the $28 level yesterday, getting up to $28.11. Don't see a lot of resistance in that stock after that level. You kind of could float up to the weekly high at $28.49. You got the close, $27.95, should serve as minor support. You did get a small gap there between Friday's high and Monday's low, 27.72 to 76. So at 27.70 level should be good support.
Keep it simple. I'm a buyer down in the low in the 27.50 area. I'm a seller up in the 28.5 area. So that's where I'm playing the stock. It's right in the middle of there right now. So I'm just not trading it here.
No size in the book, huh?
No, I don't see any size. I think it's kind of taken everything out. We're kind of, when you see a move that's taken down, we bounced up. All the size has been taken out. That's kind of why it can pretty much go wherever the heck it wants, which makes it a riskier trade. So that's what we're seeing on all these stocks. We've, bounced off. We've taken it. We took out all the size on the way down. Now we're bounced off, and it's kind of just air in here.
Okay, General Electric didn't show the strength that the rest of the market did yesterday. In fact, not exhibiting any strength this morning. Was able to sneak above Friday's high, got up to 15.25, with 15.29 being the 4-day high. So you got major resistance there at the 15.30 level. Coming back, the close 14.80. We're trading right there, so perhaps we might get a test of a double bottom there, Dennis. 14.68 to 70. GE actually did hit Friday's low yesterday, even with the strength in the overall market. So we got some relative weakness here in GE.
Yeah, some of your financials were just relatively weak overall. Obviously, GE is a conglomerate, does a lot of things, but does have a large financial business in it as well. I think, obviously if you can, buy it off that 1470 area, starts to trade 1460, then, you probably need to think about sneaking out because then we start talking about the 14 area.
Flip around and go short, right?
Possibly, if you're good.
Okay, moving on to our final component, Coca-Cola. Similar with GE, it was able to kiss Friday's low with an extremely strong market. So that 64.75 level is going to be huge for this stock. If in fact we take that out, we could be heading toward that $64 level. Coming back on the upside, we are trading below the close at 65.17. Should that be good resistance? So as strong as the market was yesterday, Dennis, and as strong as some of these stocks were, in some of the lower stocks, lower 4 in the Big Ten, you really didn't see any strength that would be encouraging.
Yeah, one thing you got to keep in mind, Coke did go ex-dividend this morning here too, Joel, so the adjusted close is 64.70. Obviously on your, most of the other charts providers or in your quote servers, 65.17 is what it looks like is the close. The adjusted close is 64.70, so it's actually trading up 29 cents with that 47 cent ex-dividend, but that just reinforces that 64.70, 64.75 area that you were talking about, Joel, because you get those people that were taking it home for the dividend. They're probably trying to sneak out positive, so that's why that 64.70, 64.75 area could be key.
Okay, that's a wrap on our show, our first portion of our show. We'll be back with our market movers.